Yo, yo, yo. This is Show Drug Etiquette, and for all intents and purposes, you can call me Joe Bravo. I'm your host. Now, if you didn't catch me last week, that was the intro. Drug Etiquette, that's the show. We're going to teach the people a lot of things, the old and the young. Now, let me start off by saying I do not advocate, condone in, or elicit any type of drugs to anyone. If you don't do drugs, don't do drugs. Good for you. And if you do drugs, hey, toast that shit up. At the conclusion of my episode last week, I said we was gonna go over shrooms. Y'all, for those of y'all who don't know, shrooms is a psychedelic. If you don't know what a psychedelic is, we'll get into that. Just not yet today. Last week was the intro. We bored y'all, watered it down. This week we gonna get into some shit. I can't remember if I said or I didn't say. I'm gonna teach you some shit the doctors don't even know, and it's real shit. This ain't no hypothetical, none of that. This real shit. So long story short story, before we get into shrooms and psychedelics and classification of drugs and whatnot, we're gonna get into the process. We're gonna get into the potency of the drugs. Now we all know it's watered down drugs, marijuana, and it's real drug, they got a whole lot of different terms and classifications for these drugs, but it's real drugs, booger sugar, cocaine, whatever you want to determine in that, call it, um, they got even drugs harder than that, you know. Like I was saying, right? There's a whole lot of drugs out there. Some of them ain't even high up on the list, and some of them are higher up on the list as far as what the government determines as bad or epidemic or all kind of little other things we got out there. Minus that. Minus that. We're not gonna get into that. But what we will get into is that, like I said, I'm gonna tell you some stuff that the doctors don't even know. Regular ass person on the street don't know, wouldn't even think twice about it. Tell me, if you know, what is the fastest, quickest way to get high? Don't worry, I'll wait. Okay, if you figured it out, you figured it out. If you said anything other than shooting up, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. The quickest, fastest way to do a drug is to shoot it straight into your bloodstream. When you shoot it, that is the fastest way you can get high. Now, of course, it's motherfucking what they call variable drugs. That's what the whole show about drugs. We're gonna talk about drugs today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. So the point was, a lot of people don't know, and I'm gonna teach you today. The fastest way to get high is to shoot it. Like I said, there's some variables and anomalies in there. As far as I know, you cannot shoot weed. There is no way you can put that weed straight into your arm. It's no way. So that's out. You can't shoot weed. But you really can't do it the next fastest way either. So like I said, we're gonna go through the checklist. We're gonna go through the speed that it takes the drug to hit you. And like I said, shooting is the fastest way. It hits you almost simultaneously as you push it into your blood. You're getting high instantaneously. That's exactly what's going on. If you don't shoot, scared to shoot, or you do a drug that doesn't require you to shoot, it's not possible, such as weed. You cannot shoot weed. I done heard people shooting all kind of shit. Fucking coke. I done heard a person shoot coke before. I thought you just snorted it or rubbed your gums with it, but people shoot coke. Those particular people only like they coke pure, pure. You can't cut theirs. People do it anyway, and people still shoot it regardless. It's very few people who shoot coke. We'll get over the demographics and all that shit at a different later date. But the point is, you can shoot the drug, you can snort the drug, which is the next fastest way to get high. If you snort it, I mean, as soon as it hits your nose, shit, it's going to your brain. Shit, I mean, also anomalies and variables. You can't snort weed. You can. If you grind it up fast, fine enough, you can snort it. Put it right in your nose and clog that nostril straight up. You won't smell nothing for a week. You might not breathe either. Shit, fucking around. You know, it's anomalies and it's variables in this shit. So please, take this shit with a grain of salt. You shoot the drug, you snort the drug, you smoke the drug, which is the third fastest way to get high. No matter which drug it is, you can pretty much smoke everything. The fourth way is you eat it. Now, people who do edibles and marijuana and shit, they more used to eating that shit. People who do the harder drugs like Percocets, cocaine, Xanax, these people ain't really, I mean, I guess preferred you should eat it, but most of these people are doing the second way, which is snorting it. They breaking it down and snorting it, or they doing the fifth way, which is pushing it. And if you guys don't know what pushing it is, that means you get that little pushing your ass. Whatever fucking drug you like to do, you push that bitch in your ass. Now, granted, I said speed wise, these drugs that's the way it's gonna get you the fastest. You shoot it, you snort it, you smoke it, and you eat it, and then you push it in your ass. Push it in your ass, it's gonna take a whole lot longer to hit you. Nah, I don't know why you would push it in your ass. I mean, if you're into that freaky shit. Have your own Diddy party. You allowed. That's your asshole. You allowed to do whatever the hell you want to do with it. That's speed. We're not talking about the actual drug speed. We'll get into that at a later date too. We'll get into that. I don't know a whole lot about that one, but the limited knowledge I do got about that, we'll cover it. But the thing what I was saying was snorting is or excuse me, shooting the drug straight into your blood system with a needle is the fastest way to get high. I don't recommend it. Secondly, snorting. And with those two, if you're doing weed or anything such of that nature, you can't shoot it and you can't snort it. That's the disclaimer. You can't sue me, motherfucker, get on here and be like, oh yeah, you dumb motherfucker. You cannot snort no weed. And if I gotta say that, I'm gonna put disclaimer all over this motherfucker, but I shouldn't have to say that. Okay, you can smoke it, and that goes for all drugs. Some people are like, how you smoke heroin? Put that bitch on the floor and you inhale that bitch. Another later date. We'll get into that. Okay, how you smoke coke? Well, you add a little baking soda, put it into some water, put it on the stove with a little fire, and then you come out with a rock, or you put that bitch on some foil and you light that bitch up and you hot reel it. It's all kind of ways to do different shit. We're gonna get into that. But for intents and purposes right now, we're just going over the actual drug, the fastest way that it can get you high. Shooting it, snorting it, smoking it, eating it, and last but not least, pushing it. And we covered pushing it is pushing it in your ass. Uh, So we're gonna go over next the effectiveness of the drug, the potency of the drug. Now, if you didn't imagine, shooting is gonna be the same. You're gonna get 100% of whatever you shoot. Now again, you cannot shoot weed. That's out. It ain't no legal way to do none of these drugs. Matter of fact, I mean you can do buy a little marijuana in some states, or if you got a medical card in other places, those are the only drugs you can buy legally. I mean, I guess you can buy a little Percocet, a little Xanax, or some of that shit. You can buy Adderall. You can't buy no ecstasy legally. You can't buy no coke legally. That's out. So you can't do it legally. But the point is the effectiveness of the drug. And the effectiveness of the drug, it's gonna be 100% if you shoot it. If you shoot it, you're gonna get 100% of that drug's potential level. You're gonna get it. I don't recommend it. Secondly, and I didn't know this, but if you push it, meaning push it in your ass, your whole butt is like connected to your central nervous system. Quote me on this. And it's connected to your central nervous system, and you put it up there, and that shit spread throughout your whole body. I didn't believe it. I still kind of don't believe it, but it's real. So effectiveness, how high you gonna get on the drug? Pushing it is second. How fast you gonna get pushing it is fifth. It's way down there. It's gonna take a long time for you to push it up your ass and motherfucking get that feeling, but it's gonna hit you so hard. The effectiveness is second on the way to do drugs. You shoot it is the first way. Effectiveness, you're gonna get 100% of that drug. You push it, you're gonna get 90% of that drug. Like I said, your butt goes through your whole central nervous system, and it's gonna spread throughout your whole body. And it's gross, it's gay, fucking. If you're part of that gibberish community, you might like that. And whatever. If you're not, I don't recommend it. Just stay away from that way. Be inquisitive. You want to try some shit? Try it and back up. I got the facts right here to back it up. You'll know. Shit, if you snort a little bit of that shit versus you put up your ass, you're gonna get higher. Pushing it. Quote me. Thirdly, you can snort it. Snorting is the third most efficient way to do a drug. Smoking is actually the fourth. You're gonna only receive about 50, 55, 60% of the drug that way. 100% shooting, 90% pushing, 70 to 80% snorting, and only about 55 to 60% smoking. And then when you ingest or digest a drug, which means eating, all you people who don't know, eating, you're gonna get the least amount of effectiveness out of that drug. Point blank, clear, y'all. It don't matter what you eat. Eat a shroom, you're gonna get higher eating it than you would smoking it. It's just the nature of the beast. Certain drugs are meant to be dead a certain way. Certain drugs you just gotta do them. They designed way to be dead. And as far as I know, heroin and coke is meant to be snorted or shoot it. You shoot it or you snort it. And I guess you could push it. So there's a whole lot of there's only those 5 ways to do drugs. And with those 5 ways to do drugs, there's 5 compatibilities and time frames of how fast you're going to get high and how much of the effectiveness you're going to receive from that drug based off how you do it. Check me out. Like and subscribe if you like my content. We'll be back next week and we'll talk about some real drugs again for real. And I might even show you a little something. Like I keep saying, I do not advocate, condone, or solicit any kind of drugs to anybody. You know, if you ain't into that shit, don't get into that shit. If you do that shit, keep that shit to yourself. Don't tell nobody. And motherfucking them green records out there, try to help them out. Try to help them quit. That's what you need to help them do. Shit, quit. Hey, like and subscribe. This Joe Bravo.